Oh, and things are looking unstable. Please stabilize. Stability would be nice. Okay, it's stabilizing. Okay, good. Alright. Things look okay. So let's just start. Right. Okay, I think we're about to do another one of those stupid freedom trials things. Oh, hi! Your wagon reels from the impact of some sort of massive object sounding into it mid-flight. False Nightwings. Orlek calls down to all of you from top flight. Again, you seek to climb the cursed mountain beneath us. Again, you seek to take my rightful place. I should send you crashing down into it, and that you might fall as I have. He stares down at all of you. But I shall not. Rather, we shall meet upon the summit. We are the last cycle of the righteous enemy. Until then. What? What? Get back here! Get back here! Get back here! Get back here! Pansy. Anyways, let's see. Bertrude gain favor. Wolfred gain favor. I don't even know who I'm gonna free this round. I guess I'll do Wolfred since I'll probably use him. Make landing on the sacred Mount Aliodal after your encounter with Orlek. Orlek spoke the truth. He has a right to gain the summit. When the time comes, Celeste shall deem him worthy, and shall let him pass. While he has transgressed against the rights, he has also already been anointed and prevailed. Nothing is written in the book on this, and liberty ought already be his. For the time, it seems that he has not yet traveled to the summit. Perhaps he is still making preparations with his fellow exiles. When exactly Orlek intends to make good on his promise, he did not make clear. For now, you are to confront Udimil and the withdrawn upon the summit. First, you may... Anyone inside? No? No. Alright, let's seek the Worm Scribe's favor. Later that afternoon, you accompany Wolfred through the sublime grandeur of the temple cistern to the monument of Under-King Oris. Faith is all that brought me all this way, and yet I have great fear about the outcome of our plan. So many here and in the Commonwealth have put their faith in it, and that too we fail. But no, we need not have failed. We will not have failed. You return to the wagon after he has finished praying and paying his respects. The summit awaits, but first there is time to continue practicing your vocation. Wilfred will gain +3 glory. And let's do teaching. Wilfred. Oh right, because the other two are all level 5 already. I guess I will teach Wolfred. So, I would appreciate your point of view. You and Wolfred go over his understanding of his aura, and its connection to his presence, both physical and spiritual. The discussion proves informative. Cool. I always try to bear that in mind. All together, our auras grow even stronger. Scribe's gate. What? We got stopped. Oh hey! This thing, right. messenger imp somehow tracks you down in the great heights of Mount Elliot. He delivers you recent news and rumors from the other side. Specifically, the imp shares details regarding Kamitha and what became of her since she was liberated at Fall of Solium. She found herself back in the homeland of her enemies, where, despite her connection to the Hiring remnants, her past transgressions were forgiven. Oh, interesting. In fact, she was asked to join the military council given her unique background. Yet she refused to cooperate and instead demanded to be reunited with her sister Kamitha. Oh, okay. But when they threatened her with a resentencing to exile and insisted that she take the opportunity, Kamitha said at least that she would think it over and return with a decision. Next she was seen, however, was among Volfred's sons and daughters in the Revolution, where it is said that she has attached her loyalty, at least for the time. Cool, so she's progressing the plan. That makes me happy. You thank the imp for bringing you news, which soon gets your companion home. I wonder where her sister is right now. I'm sure she cares for Kamitha. I'm sure of it. These are wishes for Kamitha to find her way and her sister in the Commonwealth. We suspect the ancient enmity between the winged and the flightless shall not soon be resolved, if ever at all. I hold to hope that both the Thyan sisters one day soon shall join together as part of our good cause. The two of them can help lead us towards a bright future. In spite of some mixed feelings, the news of Kamitha's liberation fills you and your fellow exiles with resolve. Plus one hope. Yeah, because there's literally only one right between this and the regular right and this right, so this is the only time to get a message, if any. You're reunited once more with you returned once more to Scribe's Gate, where the Gate Guardian waits under dim sky. The exiles the Nightwings. And you, Tariq. This is to be one of our final meetings.
Salutium, Ceres.
Greetings, Celeste. The Nightwings are prepared. And afterwards, I would have words with you in private. It seems to me rather late for words now, Tariq, but I shall hear them once your charges cross the gate. Now, all of you, come forth. Please state your names and what it is that you seek with crossing Scribe's Gate. Once more, blah blah blah. Blah blah. We've pretty much read this every single time. The scribes bid you Nightwings welcome and go forth and keep and Tariq.
Samea.
I, Celeste. You may rejoin the others in a while. For now, I would hear those words of yours. Certainly, Celeste. Everyone, I shall see you shortly.
The plains that sleep below.
Well, they're singing now, aren't you?
To the canyons open wide. Hear the song of morning for the lost and lonesome bride on the hill.
Hey guys, it's gotten real cold again up here, but it's worth it. Let me tell you, got a lot of customers been stopping by. Okay, I may have been exaggerating, just a little, since I've been waiting here a little while. Yes, but are you buying anything? I have no money. So probably not. Hey guys. Fine there. I forgot to harvest these. Then we'll I still won't have enough money for anything, but I'm gonna at least drop these off. Yeah, I don't have money. I want to do something real quick. Yeah, we poor, but it's fine. I think we have pretty much everything that I'd want at this point. So it's fine. I wanted to read this. Start from the beginning. Okay, here we go. The Nine Triumphants, in the words of Haub the Shallow, the Accursed. At first I found it much too difficult to read, much less to write, even to grasp the quill, but the Horned One, Myrrh, implored me. He said this is the greatest gift that he could give me in return. Oh my god, Mur taught an imp how to write. That's cute. In return for what? I asked. In return for his life, he said. But I did not save your life, I said. You did, he said. We fight about this still. Mur is stubborn, more than I. Now, herein, and by his leave, I chronicle the Nine Triumphants, for I am the land, unlike the rest who wish to leave. For I am of this land, unlike the rest who wish to leave. We knew not everyone could leave who wanted. Seldom would the opportunity arise. Thus did we organize those striving for the chance into 9 sets of 3. The Accusers. The Accusers formed under Golanthian. He is a big man. He values justice, loyalty, and steadfastness. Golanthian, he says that the Accusers take their name from one of his most accomplished legions, from his former military days. All among them, in fact, served the Master General at one time. They represent the stoutest-hearted people of the Empire, who held true to Mur and Golanthian to the end. The golden colors of their raiments are remnants of their old shining armor, is his claim. Ever shall they seek out those with the truest spirits and the strongest sense of purpose to replenish their ranks. The Fate united under the Many-Mane, the Alpha Chief. He is brash, but follows his traditions. He prizes faith, discipline, and honor, qualities he seems to lack at first. He formed the Fate under the precipice of olden bylaws of his four-legged ancestors. They believed in a certain natural order in the way of things. Many-Mane wanted for the Fate to likewise show respect. Initially, he only chose from other curs. He, however, urged Fate to replenish their numbers for any race or ethnic group thus willing. Thus shall they anticipate what is to come, with open eyes and minds, and never frown upon what is in store for them. The Dissidents. I, myself, however, did form the Dissidents, under the simple tenet, those who do not belong, belong. Okay, the other scribes, some of them showed, at first, reluctance to allow an imp and one accursed to designate one of the 9 Triumphants. But Mur, the horned one, stubborn as he was, stood by my side. In time, they came to understand, for I remained, as ever, at their side, a living bit of proof of their absurdity. The dissidents are an extension of my oddity. Those who do not adhere, they are not to be discarded, underestimated, or dismissed. They are as necessary as are those against whom they rebel. The Withdrawn. The Withdrawn did spawn forth from the wild witch mythy, in which vigilant pursuit of the unknown and the unknowable, I always felt a certain kinship. Whether the Withdrawn were Milthy's kin by blood or merely worshippers, we trusted one another not to ask or care. What mattered was that Milthy chose the most audacious minds who stopped at nothing short of the impossible. Though ever distant, the Withdrawn revealed to us such truths about the land, which long lay hidden even as to one such as I. Their knowledge ever waking into newfound depths of consciousness, they lead us all to better know ourselves. Pyre Hearts. The Pyre Hearts all follow in the path forged by the Underking Auras, whose many mighty deeds exceed the smallest stature that somehow contained him. His is the most spirited triumphant, their courage unfaltering, their hearts full. They live always with vigor, and perhaps they die with it as well. They are the Underking's own kind, and at home above the sea as in it, never ceasing, ever longing as they do for something more. The Underking chose wisely for these qualities, and teaches that a life devoid of passion is a life devoid of life itself. That burning passion is the fuel that drives the Pyre Hearts, and in turn us all. The Essence. The winged members of the Essence, each chosen by the matriarch Triesta Pithis, are living exemplars of liberty and piety. Would that my wings could be thus. Once, you of course must know, we all had wings. It is said that people of the Empire relinquished theirs, drawn in by earthly matters as they were. For the harps such as Triesta held tight to the liberty their plumage could afford. These divergent paths did cause a share of differences between the winged and the wingless over time. But here in this land, our purposes are shared, our goals united. That, then, is the essence. That is who they are, and what and why. The Chastity. Those bearing the name of the chastity all count themselves disciples of Slorian, the Hundred Mind, known firstly for his wisdom, but also cherished for his modesty, integrity, and kinship. Solian's priority in forming his triumvirate was to instill in all his subjects a deep-seated difference and respect for the rules governing the liberation cycle. The cycle of the rites needs to be respected to be understood, and needs to be understood to be respected, Solarian said. Thus, the chastity are emissaries of the cycle. Should they earn back their liberty, then they shall spread enlightenment itself, and all this shall grow. The Tempers. Myrrh, the Horned One, formed the Tempers upon his own ideals. Ingrained in this triumvirate are basic truths about the dual role of strength and gentleness. The Horned One. He has had a dualistic nature for as long as he and I considered each a friend. The stories I am told about Myrrh's youth describe no one I know. All of us are capable of more. I once was an imp that could not write. Myrrh was a man that could not think. The Tempers were once ordinary folk. Now they rise to greatness, always striving, never overreaching. They are not like Myrrh. They are not like Myrrh himself, rather, they are what Myrrh wished he could be. And then the Nightwings. What is a life without an adversary? If not for forces that conspire against the will, life would be devoid of its innateness, the desire to overcome. Thus, we the Eight at last each fashioned a triumphant based on our own ideals. We realized a void still needed to be filled, as the night sky would need moonlight. We Eight were united. Our triumphant shared our affection. They needed us to set them all against a common foe. Thus did we form the Nightwings, a triumphant envisioned to exceed them all, both through means mortal and divine, and give an undue favor in each turning of the cycle. They are adversaries to be all fates. Interesting. Lore's great. Reading lore is great. Let me read this. Let's see. PM the 29th. Back already in the flawless one. We shall have to confront the withdrawn this time. They must be rescued. They all are. Although it's interesting how each triumvirate was built on certain aspects, and then some of these people don't follow those aspects whatsoever. It's like, you don't follow the aspects of the Pyre Hearts, you don't follow the aspects of the Accusers, and it's just like, you guys are total trash. Like, I think out of all of them, the Fate, leader of the Fate still follows up on what the Fate stands for. And Barker more or less kind of fits in with the dissidents, because apparently they're just kind of the oddballs, and he's an oddball. Essence, I think she technically in a sense does, but she's not exactly nice. But yeah, it's just really interesting. I guess we'll start the liberation, right? I don't know who to set free, though. The time has come again to deliver one of your fellow exiles to a homecoming in the Commonwealth, lest your adversaries, the withdrawn, achieve the same as death. The Lord Minstrel has returned and approaches you to await the signal from the stars. There's something I wish to ask you, something which ordinarily would not be my place to discuss in any detail. You observe the stars. If you would not mind me asking you in such a direct manner, how many liberation rites are you supposing yet remain? Honestly, I would have to say 2. I'm gonna say 2. I feel like there's 2 more, including this one. Mostly because we have 4 people left. You tell them one logical deduction which you have been able to make based on all your readings of stars and late. There shall be one final liberation rite after tonight. I wonder if this choice actually affects the number of rites. That's a good question. Well, then if it does, then this is my answer. I concur with your evaluation. I wish to make certain that you are aware, so that you and the Nightwings may yet make the most of your remaining time together. As to what shall happen once the final liberation rite is ended, we shall both find out. But lo, it seems that we are called upon once more. Look forward. The challenges, they are not easy.
would ask that you think back for just a moment, if you please. When you first looked upon the Book of Rites, think back upon the words that it revealed. Oblige the voice that tells you more. Oblige the voice that tells you more. Would that the scribes were here among us still. I would not sing your praises to them, rest assured. I trust that you shall savor this occasion. You shan't have to oblige me for much longer.
Still confused as to why he's mad at us. What we're doing shouldn't affect the rights at all. The pyre burns and each triumphant is present prepared. I concur, the pyre burns and each triumphant blah 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 blah. Then, anointed one of the withdrawn, come forth now and declare yourself and pay any respects you have unto your adversaries, the Nightwings. The Bogwhale Udimil appears from the shadows and reaches her there. We are known to be the witch Udimil, our adversaries. They are nothing to us, or the one we serve. Ye shall be devoid in the coming an age of strife, brought down by the fell wings of the menacing eyes of your slack, the Astro Boy. You speak blasphemy upon the sacred site, Udimil. If you value your liberty, then I suggest you cease your mocking of the scribes. The scribes, they failed to stop his life, and he shall rise again. As for ye Nightwings, ye are of no consequence of your last grand design. She dons her mask once more. Soon we shall return unto the land which Slack shall usurp, where we shall offer him our blood, and our many, many others. Oh, so that's why she wants to go free. I was like, honestly, I was wondering for the longest time, why would she want freedom if the Slack is down here? It's because she wants to go up, mess shit up, and then make it so that the Slack can usurp it. Makes sense. That's not happening. Nightwings, your choice. In whose name shall you conduct the liberation rites? I wish you the wisdom of the scribes in making your choice. And I wish you to continue to prepare our song with me to read.
Whom shall you attempt to send home this time?
Oh, you have a bunch of people on your team. What the heck? I'll be honest, I think I want to send home Zay. I don't know. It's like... I don't know if I want to send Volfred home yet. Because he's definitely going to be needed for the plan. But it's just like, should I send him home now? Yeah, I'll send home Zay.
Say!
Oh, you mean me? Then I get to go home? But the 8 scribes, what if they still want me to stay?
Who shall stand with her?
And then Volfred.
Volfred.
Prepare yourself then. For this night the Nightwings shall prevail in your name and set you free. And Bertrand.
Bertrude.
We shall lend our support back one day.
Predictably decided.
Very soon we shall release thee. We shall release thee. And as for ye Nightwings, we have much in store for ye.
Yes.
Oops. That was not hard. Not exactly fast. Just gonna run everywhere. Oh, I dropped it. Whee! Look at my infinite stamina when I have the orb. Darn it. No! No! Gosh darn it. It's fine. I'm trying to at least get one goal in with Wolfred. Oh gosh darn it! Okay, never mind. Not trying. Not trying anymore. You slack. We invoke before we seek thy ancient strength. Befoul our enemies within thy blood. Damnation to the Nightwings. Damnation to the scribes. The implication of the attack, your adversary which revealed curse shall for the dark pools of banishing to earth. Who's ever any exile is banished here this night. What? What is it gonna do? Got it. Oh, I see now. I see. Come on, fire at me. Fire at me. I really just want this dude to get in the score. Oh cool, I got to throw it. Didn't expect to pull that off. Let's go infinite stamina! Whee! Can't catch me! Can't catch me! Whee!
And there it is, at last. The blasted Nightwings proved their worth.
Infinite
Rather
stamina!
convincingly, I must admit.
We still had like 2 hits too, so it's just
Thus
like, yep.
ends the liberation rite. And thus the scribes have chosen. The exile appointed by the Nightwings shall be free. Absolved of all misdeeds, return to glory in the Commonwealth. Her adversary and all others
What
shall
statue's gonna go
remain
rise up when she gets
to
free?
carry out their rightful
Well, statue even go
sentences.
Know that this affront against Yislak has been recorded, and his vengeance shall darken the skies. Okay, that one goes up. I guess she's still human, I guess. I can go home. I think this means I can go home. She shut her eyes. By the scribes. By the scribes. But what will happen now to you? All of you? Can you not come with me? No, they say not yet. The scribes, they say not yet. Although, I think your time will come. Your time will come. And I'll wait for you, because I don't have any friends back home. At least, I didn't used to. So, I want you to come join me there, okay? But now, the scribes are calling me. So, bye-bye, goodbye. falls into the shiver pool, then she's gone.
Kaya Salamanca.
Goodbye, and please, those scribes, watch over them, okay? Gain back their freedom.
Godspeed, Moon-touched one. The cycle of the rites is nearly at an end.
And now we just have 3 left. And then there are 3, yep. We return to the wagon after having prevailed against the withdrawn in the liberation rite.
Luxalis rotara.
Excellently done, Nightwings. With that we make good of all such incidents. You succeeded in liberating Zay, who returned to the Commonwealth in glory.
Mostra temere.
The last light of the stars shall shine upon us above. At this point, what is to become of our plan need be the subject of our speculation. I trust that we'll learn the outcome soon. Our actions to this point shall pave the way, perhaps our faith as well. So let us for now focus on this. We stand upon the brink of the last turn of the cycle to the right.
Civitergi transa.
Soon, we'll have a final chance to get one of you home. Now, for a little stargazing, let's see where in the downside we shall be returning for these final rites. You turn back towards the skies, you look upon the last few stars, too stubborn to relinquish their light. And what is in the sky? Or what is it? Is ash falling? Midnight star. Oh. Is it gonna be another case where we can just go anywhere we want? Oh no, never mind. Only 3? Oh wow, the rest of these stars disappeared. Oh boy, that's not good. So we can go, you can either fight the Pyre Hearts, the Temperers, or Chastity. Yeah, all the stars that used to be up here are all gone now. That's not what I expected to happen. Let me check the plan. Cannot stop thinking about what would happen if we fail. Less to those who remain trapped here, but rather to those who return to the Commonwealth. Probability of success already up to 84. We're likely to fight the Pyre Hearts. Cool. Let's fight the Temperers. We're probably gonna fight them anyway, so let's fight the Temperers. Back to the first site. Once more, you're to face the Temperers, then. Although, I wonder. He hesitates before saying anything further. You cannot sense his thoughts. I apologize. I was lost in thought there for a moment. Let us make way for the ridge and bowl, where everyone is feeling more refreshed as much as possible. The lone minstrel has returned already to the wagon after Zay's homecoming to the Commonwealth and Liberation Rite. Your companions are most grateful to you, reader. Would that Jordario could have been here with the rest of them to witness Zay's glorious return. I trust they soon shall reunite, there in your Commonwealth, where they may yet contribute to the outcome of your plan, and thus create a place that welcomes all of you. May you and your companions to continue to prevail thus. For now, Celeste and I are to return to our respective roles until we meet again at Strike. Rest well for now. Okay. Oh yeah, something I did off screen. I looked up like what everyone did to get thrown down here. And yeah, these guys weren't exactly evil. Some of these, yeah, like, so some of them are obvious. Yeah, all their crimes. Sir Lucius was abandonment. His was essentially what's the term? Framing. He framed a person just so that he can thing. Is there a way for me to just see them like outright right now? No, not here. Okay. his is not exactly a bad thing either. He was a bouncer who just assaulted a politician, and the politician got him exiled, essentially. His was it's pretty much abuse of power. His is actually not bad. Apparently, Dalbert's crime was that he pretty much honored to the traditional way of doing things, and I guess some people just didn't like that, so they arrested him and exiled him. And then his son, he was just trying to defend his dad and got arrested and exiled with him, essentially. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, the Commonwealth isn't great. And then yeah, Tamitha's a prisoner of war. And then Barker, yes, Barker. Oh yeah, also there's a follow that I'm getting that it's like, yeah, you probably aren't real people, so I'm getting not acknowledge you. Yeah, Barker, remember how you said he got arrested for dog crimes? He got arrested for dog crimes. His crime was indecency. His crime was indecency. His crime was indecency because he peed on a statue, a sacred statue. So it's just like, oh, he actually was arrested for dog crimes. And then hers was for pretty much honoring you slack and wanting to go. Yeah, actual dog crimes. Yeah, it was just really funny to me when I read that. It was like, oh, he actually got arrested for dog crimes. Interesting. Alright, let's continue on the journey. It is daybreak. You are to set forth now for the Ridge of Gold. As for what appears to be the final time, thereafter you shall return here for one last exile's final chance to liberty. Everything's like dark now, or everything's red now. I still don't know why those exist. Hi. Oh, cool. You have something to say. My, what a bit of a close call then, Nightwings. You think that you can simply cut us down like last time, is that it? Now then, we've most pressing engagement soon, so I'm afraid we've little time for chat. Much as I do cherish our exchanges, we must beg your leave until some other time. Barker don't have anything to say anymore. I can stop him. These guys aren't lifting off. Accusers. Oh, you guys landed. Okay. Oh, you guys landed. Okay. It's like I'm just trying to see if there's anyone else who I can run into and talk to, but it looks like there's not. Where should we land? What? You sense an unusual presence here bearing word of your adversary Ignarius. And then virtue find an alchemical reach issue cards along this route. I'm kind of curious about this right here. Nothing in the black line. Nope. And I already something stuff. Contact the apparition. As you walk through the dark corner of the blooming pool, you sense a presence of some sort which reaches out to you. It presents to you a vision of the adversary you expect to face in the coming right. What? The apparition is aware of your next adversary in the rights, Ignarius. It offers to sway the coming right against him in your favor. Accept, and your adversary shall suffer a misfortune that inhibits his performance. Nothing permanent, it claims. Decline, and the apparition shall extend its offer to Ignarius instead. I mean, I'd rather not get hit myself, so I will accept with gratitude. You thank the apparition for its generous offer and accept it with what it proposed. A moment later, the apparition folds in on itself and disappears. As you head back to the Black Wagon, you cannot help but wonder what exactly it intends to do. Ignaria shall suffer -2 presence for the next rite. This is fine. I'm just gonna... There's still so many of these pages I haven't read, but I'm gonna see... Hold on. So we've read Celestial Landmarks, and then we've read the Nine Triumphants. There's still stuff on that I haven't read on the Commonwealth, on the Rights of the Flame. Hold on, I haven't finished this yet. Oops, that was the B button. I haven't finished the A button. How have I not finished this yet? Because this is pretty much just talking about the rights. Anyways, yeah, so the Emperor's Fall is the one that we got throughout the first run, like our first go through of the entire area. Living in Exile, I will not read that one. Let's read up on the Greater Titans. Okay, the Greater Titans. In the words of Under King Aura's the Sea Sojourner, the stars shine strange beneath the sky. This one dared rise from the waters so that he could see them plain, the burning essence of those who came before. Our lives are but a quest to join the stars. This one longed to be the brightest, but in the downside, this one met those who own stars, whose own stars shall doubtless burn at least as hot. Together we achieved great deeds. You may have seen some evidence of it. The remains of the Greater Titans, which once darkened this dark land, but in our kinship was the strength to conquer them. It is this one's humble charge to chronicle those deeds, and may the Titan stars never stain the sky during your time. Yislak Astroborn. The foul name of the Star Titan is written here but once. Do not invoke it, lest you aid its reawakening. It sups upon despair and fear and doubt, and lands such as our own. 'Twas our mighty mistress Milfi which tracked the Astroborn's monstrosity within its loathsome pit, where it lay nursing wounds sustained from traveling across the stars in search of simple prey. The wicked Astroborn could drive a lesser creature to the brink of sanity with a mere passing glance, but not Milfi. She cast upon a fiend 100 words of binding, each one more binding than the last. With the creature's incandescent skin, we bound this book, and bound ourselves unto the stars. Wait, so the book is made with this thing's skin. Gross. Wait, what? Hold on. Wait, why do I only have one page of this? I thought I had more pages of this. Oh, oh my god, I'm stupid. Oh, whoops. That's why I only have one page. I have to use the Titan stars. And this is the only Titan star that I've done because this was for that one mission. Well, we don't have this anymore. Well, if anything, I think well, oh well. Story time over. Let's continue the journey. Yeah, I'm like, I don't feel like doing the Titan stars. I'll read them on my own time then. Oh well. Oh hey guys, say whatever into that Zay you brought here in here sometimes. You know, the loopy one, frizzy hair, always handling all the merchandise. I like her. Let me sell these. I pretty much don't need to buy anything from you. I'm just reorganizing this because so that it looks nice. Yeah, I have no reason for anything except maybe these, and I don't have enough money for these either. Thanks for stopping by, guys. And then there's nothing in the black wagon for me anymore. Well, we commence the rite then. After making all the necessary preparations amid the sweeping plains of the Ridge of Gold, you and your companions await the commencement of the rites. It is quieter even than usual at the onset of such events.
Ah,
The lone minstrel appears bearing some sort of news.
Tesolum Tave,
I have checked, and it appears as though the Templars have not yet arrived, Reader Madame.
Tasente Kalas.
There's no sign of Narius or anyone. The sigil is not set either. If what he says is true, then your adversaries are not present, then you presume the rite cannot commence. However, the stars themselves soon indicate you are mistaken. Oh, we're totally fighting Once's face. Yeah, again, I'm not gonna do the Titan stars, even though... I mean,
The tattered mantle.
like, some of these I think I could handle, all things considered. Like, this one, they just slowly lose their auras rather than it completely disappearing when they grab the orb. That one I can probably handle. They deal 5 more damage, maybe not. Enemy Pyre gains plus 30. They spend less stamina. I think I can handle that.
Dullness the locket.
I'll just do 2.
Reader, the Commonwealth, your home. Today it is aflame. Much like a stack of books.
Excuse me, what?
Aflame because of you. Because of your outlandish plan.
Oh, that started?
Not that you care. Not that you shall live to see this place again. Your attempts at revolution shan't succeed. Though by all means, keep trying. As for myself, I shall enjoy presiding over these remaining rites.
Who are we fighting? The rite is set to commence, but your adversaries, they failed to show. We take this for an act of acceptance rather than cowardice. Tis would seem the rites have nothing left to offer them.
Marosta.
Indeed, as the rites are drawing to a close, some of the triumphants whom you have met, perhaps they're beginning to decide the stars are not worth heeding any longer. Ignarius, you wonder whether he would give up on the rites like that. He did seem rather disaffected, having failed in the liberation rite before. Perhaps he should finally decide to quit for good.
Recosta Fara.
In any case, we have begun the ceremony here, and so, I ask that we end it. So, wait...
Who shall it be
what?
this time?
I'm kind of confused now.
Volfred.
Arost.
Tiso. Bertrude. It is done.
We take no pleasure stepping out of flame disowned. But apparently we have to?
Lo, even your adversaries have abandoned you. And it is done. The Nightwings prevail by default. Not that their adversaries even care.
I did not expect that. My only hope is that our would-be adversaries find some peace.
Boundless are the teachings of the scribes. Until the next rite. If there even is to be another one.
Yeah, that was fast and I did not expect that. No one speaks further of the Templars back in the Black Wagon. Everyone is instead preoccupied with the rite that is to come. Jesus can scarce believe that this will be the final opportunity to liberate one of your own.
Strale salitas.
The stars always shine with truth. The ending of the cycle of the rites is now upon us. He looks over to you.
Platere legeratus.
Please look forth, reader, madame, and see this for yourself. You may well surmise where we are going next. The others turn to you as well. You turn towards the wagon's door. You know what you shall see out there. Now, however, this time has come to face it. The time has come to face it. Whoops. The dim and fading light of the final star still pierces through the darkness, demanding your attention, guiding you towards the end point of your path. Yep, it's literally the only star. Even the stars that we were standing under are gone. The last remaining stars shall soon be gone. We have this one last chance to get one of us out. May the scribes be merciful to us all. Oh wow, look at this. I guess these are all the triumphants that have given up on trying to get out. Yep. And we're gonna be fighting Orlek. You're summoned to the Fall of Solium for your 7th and final liberation rite. Thus shall the cycle of the rites be ended for an age. You sense that, if the rites ever shall commence again, it shall not be during your lifetime, or that of any of your companions, even the longest lived ones. The stars reveal to you the one thing more. The adversary whom you face shall be Orlek. Already he has crossed Scribe's Gate and awaits your arrival. The 8 scribes created Nightwings in their own likeness. Perhaps it is only fitting that the Nightwings should, in the end, be forced to face themselves.
Sebature.
It is a shame that we should have to confront Orlek in the end. Our goal should never have been to cross purposes. I am surprised that this is what the scribes desire. For now, it may be best that you recover until dawn. Regain your strength as best as you can for the coming trial. Rest well, reader. Your group disperses as exhaustion sets in. At dawn, you fly to Mount Alidel to make a final effort to achieve your plan and get somebody home. But who? I already have someone in mind. Oh wow, look. Oh wow, I just realized. If I had known that I didn't have to fight anyone during that, I probably could have activated every single star. And gotten all of these at once. Let's see. Let's just read these beforehand. Dullness to Locket. Doubtless you have seen Black Basin, whose seething fissures yet spew nauseous flames and vapors at the stars. Then you have seen the remnants of the wrath of Dullness, also called the Locket, for within himself he held the fires and the rage which shaped this very land. The Ash Titan, he did threaten to devour us as we delved deeper in the reaches of the downside. Till we at last outsmarted him, quenched the flames we did, when we lured an inauspicious storm his way. And so, whilst the Ash Titan had fled, the stopping coward, we can see his handiwork remains. The blackened crags forever shall bespeak the danger which he posed. And then, the Tattered Mantle. Well known is the treachery of the Rope Collar, who conspired against the Emperor of Asar and set in motion the Empire's collapse. Knave did journey to the downside after us. Our paths, they never crossed, though he did meet his end. He wore the tattered mantle, wrought by the first Empress, and worn in every generation hence. The living mantle whispered wisdom in its wearer's ears, but in the downside it cried out instead in protest. When the rope collar retreated to his horrid isle far at sea, the mantle gained new life, conjoining with the native imps. The imp titan was born, and grasped then the rope collar in its first and last embrace. Interesting. Oh, hold on. I might as well harvest these. And now we can... Oh.
Foolish reader, your so-called friends, you are accomplice to their hateful plot.
I mean, I'm not wrong. That's not wrong.
They are exploiting you.
How?
You shall never have your freedom.
I know. It's like you should never have freedom. I've kind of accepted the point that I'm not going to be free. By dawn, you are already up and about after after a troubled slumber. The back wagon is prepared for its final voyage to the fall of Solium. No one speaks. As you look into the skies, the lone minstrel raises his voice, cutting through the somber mood.
Liberatus.
Reader, a certain olden ballad comes to mind. just now.
Tristatage.
I think it may befit the circumstance. Perhaps may it help to pass the time along our flight. Would you mind it very much if you were to play this song for the Nightwings? Yes, by all means, go for it. You urge the lone minstrel to play his ballad so that all among you might hear it. He begins without another word.
When the stars align, the rites shall come to bear. Illuminate the signs, the exiles shall be there. All are not the same, but three shall be as one. Freedom in flame, the end has just begun. Strength may break our own, but twisted make upgrade. Together on their own, the journey shall be made. The journey shall be
That was a good song. Alright, so we have to make a choice. One of the last few choices: Temple Cistern or Temple High Road. It shall be the Cistern. Since I've decided to set free Volfred. He's the last piece of the plan. You touch down amid the solemn beauty of Mount Alidel to make pilgrimage to the summit for one last time. There, one last liberation rite shall soon commence. There, one last exile shall reign his or her freedom. All others shall remain to carry out their sentences here in the downside for the remainder of their lives. In the Commonwealth, the plan of which you are a part shall either come to fruition or shall be suppressed. It's at 87%. I'm hoping that setting free Volfred will push that to the final edge. Well, let's see. Seek the Crone Scribe Saber. After having landed, you join Volfred on an expedition to the Monument of Molten Milk for what is likely to be the final time. Hear me, O scribes. Long have I served your will, and long have I pursued the path which you revealed to me. Our plan now stands on a precipice. If we prevail this night, then we may yet achieve its goals. We would reform the Commonwealth on the auspices which you yourself described within your book. We shall stand together. So I ask for that you please stand with us. By your divine grace, we may yet prevail. And please, have mercy on Orlek as well. Soon he is finished, you return to the wagon in silence, feeling the molten milky has shown you favor. At dawn, you shall begin your last ascent. For now, your vocation may occupy you what little time you have to spare. Plus 3 glory, again, and mentor. Get some last. Mentor you. I should be interested. I should be interested to see what lessons you have taken from this book. You ask Volfred to explain to you in his own words the histories of the 8 scribes, and speak to how their varied backgrounds form the basis, not just of the rites, but of the Commonwealth. Ah, not enough to be 5. Oh well. Sometimes I fear the spirit of the teaching of the scribe is already long forgotten back where we come from. Unfortunately, not enough to max them out. Oh well, it's fine. The scribe's way we go. And we hit his. Oh, right, messenger. messenger with news and rumors from the other side somehow tracks you down in the ancient formations of Mount Alidel. The message pertains to Zay, who you liberated at the fall of Solium, whose past transgressions have all been forgiven since her return to the Commonwealth. You learned that she was taken in by a well-to-do foster family, and was to be given private schooling for the highest order in the Astralist tradition. The theocratic sect, believing divine authority rests within the stars, they alone can speak in the future. Sense from her. They promised her that in time she might one day have the honor of teaching her the children of the Commonwealth herself. However, she soon went on her own way, insisting that the eight scribes themselves are calling her. She started wandering again all on her own. That is until she located Wolfert's agents, thus her wandering ceased, and the ranks of the revolution grow stronger. Zay has also left a simple message: belief in the scribes. You thank the messenger for the report as your companions gather to discuss. She has the manner of a saint, that one. She knows in her heart the traditions of the scribes. Tizo misses having Zay around, though he is pleased to hear that she is well. That one, very powerful indeed. A sorceress of sorts. A certain air about her. Most intriguing. The news of Zay's liberation fills you and your fellow exiles with newfound resolve. And +1 hope for everyone. Alright, on to the final rite. You stand before the scribe's gate with your companions. The gate guardian is there as ever, but you sense something different in her. The exiles of the Nightwings. We shall not meet again after the coming rite. Tariq and I. It shall be time we take our rest, I think.
Salutiam, Ceres.
Greetings, Celeste. I would tell you that the Nightwings are prepared, though this time I am uncertain anyone among us feels thus. We have a duty to uphold, Tariq.
Taruntadaje.
And then what, Celeste? And then, nothing. Not for the rights, or us. Nor not till the dawn of a new age. Now, Nightwings, step forward. Please state your names and what you seek with crossing Scribe's Gate. One by one, your fellow exiles approach her, now with sureness in their step. If I may, my name is Wolfert Sandalwood. I long as yet to see an age where freedom is one's birthright, and no longer are good people such as these forced to contend for it. Tizo believes that his ancestors are watching over the Nightwings and seeks to live up to their legacy. We are called Big Bertrude. We seek to fulfill the plan of Sandalwood, for we are fond of him and his beliefs, and then to go about our business. Finally, you step forth once more, you a common wanderer who vowed to help her friends be free again, and who managed to come this far with this group. The gate guardian observes you for a moment, then motions past the archway towards the summit. The 8 scribes bid the Nightwings welcome. Go forth with glory. Except you, Tariq. You stay right here. I thought you said... The rites are not yet ended, Tariq. He looks to her, then over to the rest of you. Pardon me, everyone. I shall be there when the stars align. The gate guardian and the lone minstrel remain together as the rest of you depart. You have gained a summit of the Mount Alidel for the 7th time, the final time in which any one of you shall have the chance to leave the downside. And one last time to see the Slug Brothers. Or Slug family. Hey guys. Guess you probably heard the big news, huh? Yeah, I'm going out of business here, I guess. Just hasn't been the same, you know, with the stars all fading out and stuff. Anyway, just wanted to say, you guys are great, and I'm sure you're gonna miss having you guys as customers and all that. I got some good news though. Good news though too. All of my stuff, it's all on sale now, and I will throw a little extra there just for you, okay? So, enjoy, and maybe I'll see you guys around, okay? Henceforth, all of Falcon Ron's goods are 5% off. Great. Well, I might as well sell this. Only 5%, unfortunately. Oh, let's put it back in my even afford anything? I can afford this. I can't afford that, and I can't afford this though. So I can give either +1 quickness or +1 hope to someone. I'll buy hope. One last thing to buy from you.
Felicitada o seclamatai.
Must be our lucky day here, or I don't know what, Dad. And who would need it the most? Gertrude would need it the most. Okay, cool. Oh, time to commence. You have gained the summit of Mount Lydell for the 7th time. Very few stars remain above to light your way as you await the commencement of the final liberation rite. Lone Minstrel finds you clutching the Book of Rites, seeking there perhaps some bit of wisdom that has eluded you thus far.
Negaratus.
Reader, we may not have a chance to speak again after this. I may have to go.
Yara mitage.
I wish to say that I am grateful for having made your acquaintance, and I shall remember you with fondness. I wish you well, this night and always. Go forth with glory. Then he looks up and he extends his hand in friendship. You clasp it. You see Tizo has joined you. All your companions are there with him, in fact. Tizo wants you to know that he has the utmost faith in you. Reading. Thou art both wiser and less irritating than most others of thy kind. We have learned something from thee, and we are grateful. This is strange for me to say, given the circumstances of our meeting, reader, but it has truly been a pleasure. Onward now, let us achieve our plan. You look upon your fellow exiles, your companions, with whom you withstood the downside, and with whom you shall now conduct this final rite.
Ceramiscus.
Begging your pardon, but my time has come. We shall see each other soon. He departs after this night. The outcome of Volfr's plan, the plan of which you have all been a part, shall be decided, one way or another. For now, all you can do is strive to prevail against your final adversaries, so that one last companion may go free. You rise to join your fellow exiles as the last remaining stars ignite. Turning these off. Yeah, I don't care.
Look, for one last time, upon the fall of Solium, dear reader. Hear me for one last time. For soon, the few remaining stars shall fade away, leaving you stranded there for your remaining days in that forsaken land where you deserve to be. The rabble that you roused here in the Commonwealth shall be put down. The exiles whom you liberated all shall fall in line. But first, let us get on with this last liberation rite. You face none other than yourselves, each so unlike the glorious Nightwings of yore. 'Tis a shame that one of you shall soon be free, for you deserve each other.
Yourselves, he's just saying that the other people are also the Nightwings. The Pyre burns and each of the Triumphants is ready to prison prepared. But before the minstrel should concur as per the custom, not another word. The demon Orlok slowly raises his clawed fingers to his mask. The false Nightwings have arrived at last. Long have I awaited this. My freedom once was stolen from me. Then I was cheated of it, here upon this mountaintop. You may now attempt to take it from me once more. He stands there for a moment, silent, then Orlok dons the mask and stands prepared. May these damned rites cease forever, for the misery which they cause. I mean, you say that, and at the same time, it's like the person who betrayed you is not even here anymore. Nightwings, we shall not meet again after tonight. for the cycle of the rites is all but ended. Thus, I would have your decision on whose behalf shall you conduct this final liberation rite, the one whom you anoint, or else the exile Orlek shall be returned. Godspeed, reader. You know what is at stake better than I. I have utmost faith in you to make the best decision and conduct this rite with glory. Nightwings, the star's remaining light glows dim. Your decision, please. So yeah, I've already decided. It is now time to choose who, if anyone among you, shall go free this one last time. The rest of you remain downside to the end of your days. One by one, the gaze you meet the gazes of each of your fellow exiles. Gertrude, Tigo, Wolfram. Your fellow exiles, your companions, your friends. Together you have come this far, but now on the downside and the rights conspire to tear your group apart and disrupt your plan. Are you prepared to choose this one last time? Yes. With but a glance, you assure your fellow exiles that you know what to do.
One final opportunity for salvation. Too bad for the rest of you.
Yeah, I've already decided to anoint Wolfram.
Volfred.
Rotave Barus.
Long have I dreamt that I might someday see the plan of ours come to fruition. I promise you that I shall make the most of it if we are to prevail. Your choice is cast. As for the other companions, you sense a clarity of thought and purpose in each of them. They stand ready to support Wolfred as well as you.
Who shall lend him support? Gertrude.
Thy will is ours, reading one. Let the remaining stars shed their light upon our ceremony here. Hold on, I want to check something before I choose Kiko.
Tizo.
He's ready to do whatever it takes to see Volfred regain his freedom this night.
With that out of the way,
Those who are to be my adversaries then. And who is, I wonder, who asserts her will over that group? You sense Orlek searching for you, almost reaching out to you. You, the shadow of the false Nightwings. They are nothing to me. But you would relinquish your own liberty for the sake of them? Strange. It is fitting, then, that I should have to face one such as you. Then Orlek stands to be at ready, signaling for his other two allies to say, by the light of dawn, the cycle of the rites shall cease. Let us see if we can finish this ordeal before that time. The skies above begin to shudder. The final liberation is about to commence. Tariq? I am prepared, Celeste. Then, let our song this evening shake the stars themselves. Aye, Celeste. Let's make sure of it. Tizo? Tizo fumbles Celeste. Tizo recognizes Orlek and greets him tentatively. Good to see you. Orlek reaches his master turn. How's the horn? And cracking. Indicates his horn has not bothered him for a long time now, since Orlek life. Good. A full recovery then. It is unfortunate to see you standing there with him, you know. Come with us. Come with us. The property is to catch you off guard. His own kid indicates that he will not abandon his friends or his life. He seems pleading with Orlek to stand down, to listen, not to give in to anger. Orlek shakes his head. He puts the mask back on. This is something I must do. He's gone to the last turn. He turns nothing more.
begin. The final chance at liberation for the age.
Shoot! Oh no, oh no. They got the first hit. You wear the raiment once again. I cannot simply stand by and do nothing more. Yet that is what you did when last we stood together on this blast mountain. I fell. You stood. Orla, what shall it take for you to be convinced I took no part in your betrayal? Orla seems to consider the question. Only for a moment. Give me my damn freedom. Let me prevail. Here and now. Would you promise to uphold our plan? To bring about a better Commonwealth? No. I make no promises. I owe you nothing. Then, I'm sorry, Orla. My love of country comes before all else. More than your freedom and our friendship is at stake. Your love be damned, Volfred. Let us stand as adversaries then. Darn it! It's like my blink is farther. Like my blink is farther now, but it's just like there are moments where I'm like, my blink's a little too far now. Whee! No!
If I were that one, I'd be rather angry.
Yeah, I have a further blink now, but sometimes I miss the Pyre completely. Like that!
Almost.
Darn it.
Banished one and all.
Darn it!
The orb.
Come on, come on, go, Tizo, go!
That is how to snuff a flame.
Sky rains ash. Soon shall your Pyre own mingle with them. Just then, the skies above begin to rain down fire. The final throes of the cycle of rights and the ending of the age. What? Excuse
There
me?
goes old Bertrude. How he has changed, that warleg. Grown old and bitter in all these many years. Oh,
Shoot. Oh, I had the orb.
how very sad for the true Nightwings.
Come on, yes.
By the scribes. Nightwing shall prevail at this rate.
Oh shoot!
Begone, Volfred.
I walked right into that one. Oh no!
Beneath
Crap.
contempt.
Oh no, oh no, oh no. Please, please, hurry, please. Oh no.
They simply threw it in.
Okay.
You seem unable to stop these people.
Come on, come on. Oh, dang it.
Be gone.
Darn it. Oh no, shoot. That was misjudged. Darn it! Oh crap. Please kill me. Okay. My friends. Everyone else. Come on, go, go! Oh, darn it. Darn it! I don't want to skip. I kind of want to try to not save scum this. Ah, crap. Darn it. I think I need to do 2 more hits. 2 more good hits and I think I'll win. So the false Nightwings bear their fangs at last. We've been fighting this entire time, hun. But they cannot be your finest effort. You think you deserve your freedom more than I? Then fight for it, damn you. I am fighting for it, you piece of junk. Darn it! Darn it. Ha! My chance. Get in the Pyre. Oh, thank God, finally. I got a score with him. All of you shall rot here. You shall rot as I have all these many years. These false Nightwings deny me once again my rightful liberty. You who deny that liberty to all the triumphants you face and vanquish under the guise of the traditions of those blasted scribes. Come, let us continue with this glorious affair. Sure. Come on, Tizo. Let's... Darn it.
None left unscathed.
Where's the ball? Oh, there's the ball. I was like, where's the ball?
Ouch. Yes.
Come on. Got it.
There it is. The Nightwings proved their worth.
I love how the voice is
An
just mad at me
outcome
now.
which left little room for doubt. Thus ends the liberation rite. And thus, the scribes have chosen.
Hasta Nurigaservas.
Praise the scribes. You've done it. We look upon Volfred, who you expect shall be the last time we see each other. Any moment now, the ship full shall engulf him. Any moment now, he shall return to glory and join his aged Commodore, now the chief of the planet. Any moment now, the cycle of rights shall end, until at least the dawn of a new age. Any moment now.
And thus, the scribes have chosen. And thus, the scribes have chosen.
Oh boy, this is bad.
And thus, the scribes have chosen. No.
Are you trying to delay this?
Nightwings. Reader, what have you done?
Manteroshi.
Hold. There's something wrong. For each prior time upon the fall of Solium, the Shimmer Pool has opened, following the liberation rite and taken in whoever exile prevailed. But now, all is still, and the light of the stars above has all but died. You sense a growing fear that it is already too late, that the Shimmer Pool shall not reveal itself again. Orlick approaches, his head bowed. The 8 scribes saved their greatest treachery from last. Then something else catches his notice. Wait. A sudden rush of starlight cascades through the stillness of the summit. The shimmer pool has appeared again. Different, somehow, but open. Bolfred looks upon it, but it does not engulf him, or at least not yet.
Suda Salamen.
It seems I was mistaken then. The 8 scribes. This is not their greatest treachery. It is their greatest jest. The shimmer pool is flung wide open. It seems that all are worthy now of freedom. What? Orlek strides toward the shimmer pool, but
Senin.
halt, Orlek. Orlek glances over the lone minstrel, almost in surprise.
Somfidete.
The shimmer pool has lost most of its strength. You step inside, you shall surely drown. Of that I can assure you. He laughs to himself at this. Then, we have all been cheated.
Nimsare.
No, the shimmer pool is revealed, and one of you may still return as planned. But, as for who returns, someone shall have to choose, ere the last light of the stars is extinguished, and the righteous cease to be. This is the final trial of the scribes. The final trial of the scribes. Then, our confrontation, the liberation rite, it was all meaningless?
Nim.
No. The victor of the confrontation is to be the one to make the choice. Among those closest to the scribes. Either the anointed, or she who anointed them. So then, the choice is mine to make. My freedom, weighted against the readers. Is that it?
Pyre.
Aye. It shall be either you, the reader, or... It shall be either or...
Tajerusare.
Bolfred, please make your decision quickly, lest it shall be forfeit. I do not know for how much longer the light of the stars shall offer you this gift. A snap decision, then. Fine, I have made it. Reader, my girl, this chance at freedom that we've earned, it's yours. Take it, now, and make good use of it, for you and all of us. Bolfred wishes to give up his freedom so that you may gain yours.
Simadare.
Very well.
Irate Rigaratus.
Freedom, madame. The choice which Bolfred made, or rather, the choice which he gave, it is now yours to make instead. This choice, it makes you bouncing back and forth like this. Absurd.
Tempra dantas.
It may, until such time as one of you is willing to accept the burden and the outcome of the choice. That is the trial. And I fear that there is little time remaining now. Reader, if you and your companion are too cordial with each other to accept the freedom, either one of you, then I shall gladly take it. Freedom ought to be more than some flirtatious trifle to exchange.
Rigaratus.
Reader, what is your will? So many decisions. Yeah, the biggest choice. Of course, the biggest choice is the one that happens last. I think I still want to set free Volfred, though. I'll be honest, I still kind of want to set free Volfred. Like, I know he wants me to go, since it's the one chance that I as the reader, gets to go. But I'm like, I kind of want him to go home, since he's the one who's gonna reform the Commonwealth. You are decided. You have chosen Volfred. He looks at you with some astonishment. Volfred, sir, do you accept the reader's choice, or shall you make another? Yes. I accept the reader's choice in this. I thank you, from the bottom of my heart, my girl. And I'm afraid that I don't know what else to say. Then it is done. You look at a glimpse of genuine surprise flash across Volfred's face, and then gone. You gave a chance at freedom so that Volfred may yet hesitate.
Godspeed, Volfred Sandalwood. By the scribes, no stars remain aloft. The cycle of the rites. It is finished. The Commonwealth. What shall become of it? What shall become of us? Nightwings. The opportunity to gain your freedom from the downside. Was it not enough?
That night, the exiled Wolfred returned to the Commonwealth. He was to be the last. The stars had faded, and the cycle of rights had run its course. He found the Commonwealth in great upheaval. Spurred by the efforts of 6 liberated exiles, Wolfred Sandalwood's revolutionary plan had indicted the masses. These exiles, and the starless sky, portended the return of the scribes. The people surged into the streets, shoulder to shoulder. Led by the 6 exiles, their voices shook the heavens. The leadership of the Commonwealth panicked. No blood was shed that night, and by dawn, it was over. The leaders of the Commonwealth had cast themselves back into exile, or joined in this new cause. Thus, in its 838th year, the Commonwealth had fallen. It's good that no blood was shed. That's a good thing. The new Sahiran Union declared its sovereignty in the next year. Among the changes its elected leaders ushered in, they vowed never to cast their people into exile, and they abolished the old Commonwealth decree forbidding literacy. Today, we still remember all of this. And we remember the exiles of the downside, whose deeds led to the dawning of our age, whether they returned or not. Oh, that's cute. They have little, so everyone has like the things, and then for all the people who were freed, they have their things there. Oh, cool. We have a little thing. So after gaining her freedom, Pamitha Thayan found herself in a difficult position. Having once betrayed her people of the Highwing Remnant, she knew that she would not be welcome in her native home. She did not trust the Commonwealth either. Instead, she found her place among Wolfred Sandalwood's agents, who were busy doing their final part to fulfill the plan. As it turned out, the plan was a success. Pamitha Thayan stood shoulder to shoulder with her other fellow former exiles, and truly, they were a sight to behold. A disturbing rumor later spread that night. The Highwing Remnants were slated to mount an assault, which for some reason never came to pass. Pamitha denied any knowledge or involvement. Afterwards, Pamitha played an active part in negotiating terms between the Highwing Remnants and a new nation that would become our Sahiran Union. Her previous attempts at something of the sort led to her exile. She must have felt some satisfaction to succeed this time around. Sometime later, Pamitha had an unexpected run-in with Rookie Greentail, with whom she had spent a fair amount of time with while traveling with the Nightwings. Under these new set of circumstances, it turned out the two had more to talk about, and rather more in common. They would often put to test which one was able to outdrink the other. Great. It is unclear as to which one of them prevailed in that contest in the end. One day, Pamitha received an invitation to return to the Highwing Remnants, where she was to be fully pardoned. She held out a hope that she might seek her blood sister Pamitha, there knowing full well that Pamitha did not regain her freedom. Pamitha did later learn that Pamitha was welcomed back by her people. However, she never responded to her blood sister's attempt to contact her. Pamitha, in turn, did not expect forgiveness from her at any point. Nonetheless, she kept on trying to reach out. She said, to ruffle up her feathers just a bit. Later, when asked, Pamitha Thayan admitted she felt as though she had no home to call her own. Thus was during an interview conducted amid an extensive trip abroad, for she had traveled thousands of leagues beyond the bounds of the Sahiran Union. Pamitha continued to journey thus, citing that it reminded her of when she was younger and could fly unfettered. Oh, cool. They all disappear after you've done it, so. I kind of clicked on her just randomly, so let's go in order. After his liberation, Hedwyn was instrumental in the events leading to the fall of the Commonwealth and was vital in the outcome of the plan. The peaceful outcome of the scribes' return was attributed to several key factors. One of them was the underlying ambition of the plan itself. Another was Hedwyn's visibility among the people in the streets. Identified to be a liberated exile, he was believed to be Golanthian reborn. Oh, cool. More importantly, however, was that one of the winged harps of the Highwing remnants accompanied him. She was later identified as Fakani Shang. Their bond was symbiotic of what was at stake that night, and proved vital to the peace that followed. In all his days as the leader of the Sahiran Union. Ooh, cool. Hedwyn often confided in his friend Jodariel. Despite her intense manner, there was no one whom he trusted more in times when circumspection was required. Hedwyn would often think back about the vow he made at the beginning of his quest for freedom. Although he cherished all the friends he made, he had pledged to Jodariel, Yuki Greentail, and the leader of the Nightwings that they may all be free again together. He had broken that vow, for in the end, not all of them were able to return. A terrible guilt over this darkened his mood for a time. However, the others whom he still knew lifted his spirits, which like he had often lifted theirs. All the Nightwings knew the stakes. While the others who stood with the Nightwings were not all able to remain in contact with us, Hedwyn thought of each of them, and so, in turn, did they often think of him. Jodariel. After her liberation, Jodariel soon became an icon of the movement that led to the collapse of the Commonwealth and the rise of the Sahiran Union. Her horns and stern countenance inspired the people to believe that she was Solium Mur, reborn. She became a great, if reluctant, leader. In the uncertain times that followed, Jodariel's seasoned expertise often came into play both in the matters of security and of the state. For instance, she conscripted and trained a team of volunteers in public safety. The community did not know what to make of such a cordial bunch at first, but soon came to value their service. They have stood for the people ever since, and we celebrate their founding day each year. She remained close with Hedwyn all through this experience, and they supported each other, though their struggles through the many struggles. I can't read. Through their struggles many times. She kept an eye on Zay, who nonetheless demonstrated a surprising knack to get by on her own, though Jodariel was always willing to provide assistance just in case. She continued training on her own, a regime that grew stricter with each passing year. There were those who sought to train with her, and sometimes obligated. There remained one other constant in her life. She would always remember her days among the Nightwings, and with fondness for the most part. Rookie. After Rookie Greentail earned back his freedom, he returned to a lavish welcome ceremony in the Commonwealth, as was a tendency for liberated exiles. It was everything he could have hoped for, and soon he was well off, surrounded by luxury, and choosing between various exciting opportunities. However, he must have given in to his better judgment, as he did end up siding with Wolfert Sandalwood's revolutionary forces as promised. On the night of the scribe's return, Greentail was there with the others, inspiring the masses. He never looked prouder, the very image of Yomer Manymane himself. When dawn finally came, it became clear that the Commonwealth that everyone knew would be no more. He realized that many opportunities waited. He began quite a lucrative career for himself, manufacturing and selling replica merchandise inspired by the downside. His main struggle was to meet demand. An aspect of his conscience cautioned him against making light of such a thing, but the money was too good, and soon his family was well off, as he always said. One of his orders of business was to seek out one of his old companions, Hamita Thayan, to whom he took a liking during their quest for freedom. They bonded further over love of drink and supported one another through uncertain times that lay in store. He also kept in close with Gilman, ever the perfect practice partner. They would train together, often taking care to stay in tip-top shape as much as possible throughout the years. Greentail always did the best to keep in touch with all his many friends, and knew that he owed his fortunes to them. He made a special point of staying close with a group of friends he came to know as well during his time with the Nightwings, wherever they were. They shared a special understanding that put even Greentail at loss for words sometimes.
Concealed
When the worm Gilman returned to the Commonwealth, he believed that he had regained something even more important than his freedom, his honor. Gilman relinquished his knighthood and declined an opportunity to serve as captain of the Blood Border. He was not interested in fighting any longer. Yet, as is sometimes the case with those such as he, a circumstance soon came about in which there came a need for him to once again make a use for his military training. Thankfully, however, the scribe's turn ended peacefully. Gilman was on edge throughout that night, expecting violence to erupt at any moment, but the moment never came. When the matter was last put to rest, then Gilman truly knew that his time as a knight had ended. He declared to all those in earshot that he would never fight again. Unless, of course, there arose some other extraordinary set of circumstances, again requiring him to fight, but he certainly hoped not. He still trained regularly just in case, especially with his fleet-footed friend, Rupert Greenhill. He was always grateful for having studied under the reader of the Nightwings, without whom he would never have completed his penance. Because of this, and perhaps because they were on opposite sides of the world now, Gilman dedicated his life to her. By that point, he had long forgotten about his days under the leadership of Sir Deluge, his former commander. Breaking free of his abusive leadership, his first step towards gaining a bit of self-respect. Gilman never did return to his homeland as the Sea Dominion, and was content to lead a monastic life on a small residence in the hills. It was just high up enough to make him keep striving to conquer his fear heights. Other than that, an intense daily training regimen and the occasional visit from an old companion was more than enough to keep him optimistic and engaged. He knew by then that honor was not something to be won, but a contract with oneself, to be renewed each day. The Commonwealth had never provided a sense of home for the one they had called Zay the Proxy. That was her title? So she was surprised on her return that she was so well treated. She felt uneasy about it, and besides, she knew that she would do her best to fulfill the pledge she had made with her friends. Even she could not have expected the impact she would have on the events that followed, which gave rise to our Saharan Union. Despite not fitting in the image of any of the 8 scribes, Zay nonetheless stood out alongside the others amid the teeming masses of the night of the scribes' return. She spoke of the scribes with such conviction and sincerity that the crowd was very moved. After the fall of the Commonwealth, there was renewed interest in the legend of the 8 scribes, and many new interpretations of the histories and teachings. Zay found herself at the center of all this. Her way of speaking continued to compel a growing audience. She swayed many people from their astralist beliefs. Soon, the 8th Word, which had lost its favor with the people during the reign of the Commonwealth, sought her out, and asked her formally to join. She did, right away. A theocratic society believing they scribes were more than mortal and their words divine. Okay, that makes sense. Although through it all, she would wonder how her little friend Tizo had fared. While they were divided now by a great distance, he had always remained in her heart. She cited her relationship with Judariel as the single most important in her life. Judariel would always provide her a circumstant perspective and the wisdom of experience. They always was devoted to her faith, but more so to her friends. Many people of the Saharan Union cited that her gentle manner and unwavering conviction helped them brave the changing times with courage and with grace.
Siltavidias.
When Wolfert Sandalwood gained his freedom, he knew that his work had only just begun. The nation that had exiled him to life in the downside now prepared to honor him. But he was not interested in such ceremony, nor in freedom on the Commonwealth's own terms. He soon rejoined his agents, with whom he had been coordinating for years, slowly, carefully preparing for a night that would soon come. For Sandalwood and his loyalists and sympathizers, true freedom was at stake. Not just theirs, but that of everyone living under the Commonwealth. He hoped to gather liberated exiles representing each of the 8 largest ethnic groups composing the population of the Commonwealth. They would stand together as the vision of the 8 scribes returned, inspiring the masses to embrace the older set of values from before the Commonwealth had tightened its grip. With the rites having ended sooner than expected, this optimal scenario became impossible, but Sandalwood did not relent and prepared to execute his plan, imperfect though it was. On the night of the scribe's return, he stood as one of the 6 former exiles of the Nightwings, and their voices echoed through the streets. These former exiles, who ought to have disappeared into the ranks of the Commonwealth's own leadership, now stood united with its people, who poured from their homes in solidarity. It was imperative that to Sandalwood that this stand against the Commonwealth be peaceful in its nature. An overwhelming show of popular support would be more than enough. Ensuring this was his priority that night, and in the end, the result was self-evident. The plan's goal had been achieved. Sandalwood's work far from over, still, he labored ceaselessly with representatives from across the population to restore a sense of stability. This transitional period had its troubles, though none that were not quickly solved. Such was with the will and the spirits of the people. They understood their freedom carried new responsibility. After Saurian Union was born the next year, Sandalwood was elected as the nation's first prime minister. It was not his intent to run for this office, but the people chose him anyway. He led our fledgling nation through its nascent years. As Volfred Sandalwood gained more fame throughout this land for all his sacrifices and his contributions, he remained ever steadfast about two things. The first was that the cause itself ought to remain in focus, the freedom that the people had achieved. It was a gift to be cherished, a set of values that needed to be nurtured. The second point he made was that he himself had little to do with the outcome. He would often praise the exiles of the Nightwings who had stood with him, each in turn by name. He never forgot any of them. One day on his birthday, the people of the Saurian Union presented him a monument depicting him and the Nightwings as imagined in their prime. It has since ensured that those of us with memories more fallible than that of Sandalwood likewise remember the achievements of his fellow former exiles and of our cause. And then for the people who didn't, we didn't set free, and why is it not going further down? Tizo? Once the rites had ended, the Tizo had a job to do. Quite unlike most exiles trapped forever in the downside. The lone minstrel asked that he watch over the black wagon, which Nightwings had used extensively for travel and for shelter all throughout their quest. Tizo obliged, for he knew that wagon, as well as its driving inhabitants, perhaps better than anyone. What became of the wagon exactly was never verified as evidence of Tizo's thorough work. After that, he liked to while away his days with any of his friends, or else with fellow imps. Volfred Sandalwood would sometimes send him little gifts, all the way from the downside. Despite the insurmountable distance between them, their friendship proved more than resilient. He often chirped about the reader of the Nightwings, with whom he built quite a rapport. The reader understood him perhaps better than anyone. Indeed, Tizo would often express wistful gratitude for all his time with the Nightwings and their many adventures throughout the land that was always his home. Other than that, Tizo would sometimes help interpret for messenger imps relaying news to and from the Saurian Union. Despite having gained significant celebrity abroad, he never let it go to his head. And he would go fishing in the Sea of Solace every single chance he got. Oh, at least he got to do that. Bertrude? Several exiles of the Nightwings cared more for the plan of Sandalwood than to return home from the downside. The crone called Big Bertrude was a prime example. She found a suitable environment to live within the dismal region known as Flagging Hands. There she had built up a thriving place of business known to many exiles in the land. With the rites having ended, she returned to her preoccupations, working away almost as though nothing had happened. When one gets to be more than 400 years of age, perhaps even the monumental events such as the illumination of the rites, or the collapse of the Commonwealth, are seen as trifling matters. Much of her efforts was doubtless due to the influence of Sandalwood, someone who she had admired for decades. Though they are far apart now, she sought out news of his whereabouts and found his actions in the Saurian Union a rare source of inspiration. By and large, Bertrude kept focusing on her work, whether casting small enchantments on or in reading talismans. The work brought her a sense of purpose, she would say. In the Commonwealth, such services were strictly forbidden, but in the downside, there was a real need for simple luxuries, which with the completing slunk market could not always provide. Thus did Big Bertrude continue to live up to her name in the tales of her days with the Nightwings. And the tales of her days with the Nightwings made her that much more a living legend. Sandra?
J'étais à mon temple.
After the cycle of the rites ceased turning, records of what happened to the Black Wagon of the Nightwing became inconclusive and contradictory. Some accounts suggest that the exiles of the Nightwings, who remained in the downside, continued to make use of the Black Wagon as their place of shelter and their means of travel. However, there is no record of what happened to the wagon's contents, such as the Book of Rites or the Beyond Crystal, said to be haunted by the apparition Sandra the Unseen. One possibility is that the lone minstrel took his leave. He took the Beyond Crystal with him, for he was thus obliged. But this line of reasoning, however, the Black Wagon itself should have been taken also. Others remain skeptical that the Beyond Crystal ever existed, or rather, that the visions that it granted were anything other than the result of an active imagination or fear. The bog dwellers of the Southern Bogs offer still another explanation, for they are familiar with binding enchantments. If there existed such an object in which the Sisters of the Arch had been expelled for more than 800 years, then the enchantment could have expired long ago with the light of the stars. What this would have meant for Sandra and the Beyonders is difficult to say for certain, other than it may have meant that they were finally released. Nevertheless, the fates of Sandra and the Beyonder Crystal remain unknown. Yet those exiles of the Nightwings who claimed to have seen the apparition all spoke of her with degrees of reverence, or perhaps a little fear. Slug Market? With the rites drawn to a close, the Slug Market's revenues fell precipitously. The Falcon Ron was forced to liquidate their assets and close up shop. Oh. Yet, as it's sometimes the case with those of an entrepreneurial learning, this time of hardship led to an epiphany, or at least a sudden change of fortune. One day, Falcon Ron had a run-in with a messenger imp bearing news from the other side. Ron gave it one of his remaining trinkets, which could not be sold. The following week, the messenger imp returned to him bearing a tidy sum of wealth in newly minted coinage from the Saharan Union. Falcon Ron cut a long-term deal with the messenger imp, then and there. Though his trade remained a gray area from a legal standpoint in the Saharan Union, the newfound fame of the downside caused Falcon Ron's goods to explode in popularity. He then later signed an elaborate agreement with Big Protrudes and found a distribution partner on the other side through Rookie Greentail, whose own business had expanded. Especially in the Saharan Union, Falcon Ron's goods are still known for their superior quality, though he assumes no liability for any side effects. Well, that's cool. So all things went well for him. Alright, let's see these two first. After the cycles of the rites ceased turning, the lone minstrel bade the remaining Nightwings take the Black Wagon and seek their fortunes elsewhere in the downside. Their parting was heartfelt but brief. He remained there at the summit of Mount Alaydel with Celeste, where the two of them would chronicle the final outcome of the cycle. Neither Tariq nor Celeste were ever seen again. We know all this now through song attributed to them. Some claim that these songs originated in the taverns of the Saharan Union and merely were imbued with the weight of folklore. However, the exiles liberated from the downside corroborated with each other's claims, having met this duo that presided over the liberation rites. Another folktale suggests these minstrels were heralds of the scribes. Having fulfilled their obligations, they departed the world we know and rejoined their patrons. One of their famous songs describes another, simpler outcome, that the two gave up their duties to the rites in favor of a life that they could share together. In any case, they are likely to remain the subject of such verses and such songs, for it was they who watched over the rites, and ushered in our times. Alright, now for the enemies. I guess we'll go in order of who we met, so you first. After the final liberation rite, Lendl refused to believe that the rites had truly ended. He would sit through night after consecutive night, staring into the blackness of the sky, awaiting any kind of sign that might gain another chance at freedom. No such sign ever came. His fellow accusers started to express concern for him. Survival had become the top priority once liberty had slipped from their grasp. But Lendl dismissed them as weak fools. He insisted rather forcefully that any evening now, the stars would shine for him again, and mark the way towards his inevitable freedom. He was, of course, mistaken. The others in his triumvirate were left with little choice but to abandon him. After that, the exile known as Lendl the Liar was never seen again. However, there have been since sightings of a bedraggled demon who wanders the downside and bears Lendl's cruel countenance, suggesting he yet lives. Then the fate. As the cycle of the rites drew to a close, it grew evident that a chance of freedom for the downside had forever slipped from Dalbert and Almer Oldheart's grasp. Thus, they and the exiles of the fate returned to Yomer Valley. There they struggled to get by, as exiles of the downside seemed to do. Sometimes after the rites had ended, the Old Hearts at last heard the news of the Commonwealth had fallen. This was well after the fact, of course, but it brought old Dalbert great joy. Despite his forthright manner, he had no love for the nation that cast him down, along with his son. Dalbert Oldheart passed peacefully in his sleep before the next new moon. Well, he was old. In his final days, he implored his son to undertake a pilgrimage to the scribes. Almer never shared his father's view of the scribes, but respected Dalbert's wishes, and so, after a period of mourning, Almer began a new journey. Not a day went by that Almer Oldheart did not think about his father, and gave thanks to him and speak to him at morning and at night. Would that the stars yet shone, for surely Dalbert's would be there among them, smiling down at his son and watching over him and his kin. One of the few exiles I was willing to set free. Who did we meet next? I think it was you? Yeah, it was you. Barker Ashpaw never had much interest in returning to the Commonwealth, for he always found its bylaws to be stifling. So when the rites ended, he did not care at first. He soon grew very bored. The rites had given his life a certain sense of structure he had always needed. He missed the raw anticipation of it all. He decided to continue conducting the rites for the thrill of it. He bent some of the rules and replaced some of the objects, but it was close enough. His packmates, the dissidents, proved more than happy to participate, and thus they ran against each other back in Yomer Valley. Gradually, other exiles familiar with the rites, as well as those who had not heard of it at all, started taking interest. They ended up giving Barker Ashpaw some healthy competition. Well, that's cute. His old feud with Rupert Retail ceased meaning anything to him, and he forgot all about it amidst his new cute pursuits. Ultimately, even Barker Ashpaw, who had led such a directionless existence to that point, found something of a calling through the rites. Whether he took the rites less seriously than any other exile of his time, or more, was oft debated by those who watched him work. Yeah, he turned the rites into an actual sport, pretty much. I believe you were next? No, you were next. After the cycle of the rites had ceased, Witch Udemilf returned to the Flagging Hands region, where she sealed herself within the pit of Milky. Makes sense. There, even her fellow exiles of the Withdrawn allegedly grew unnerved after a time and left her to her vile work. Sometime later, the pit of Milky erupted into flame. So intense was the conflagration that it could be seen all the way from Yomer Valley. Arson was suspected, though the cause was never verified, and many bog dwellers in the region were forced to flee. A tempest blowing from the north finally quenched the flames. When at last the ashes settled and the grounds had cooled, the site of the fire was scarred beyond recognition. No trace of Witch Udemilf could be found. Good, she died. Cool. As for the contents of the pit of Milky, which notably included a profane object throughout the ring, thought to be the remains of Yuslak, all of it was gone as well. Oh, cool. Back in the Syrian Union, Udemil's repeated threats of the return of Yuslak were thoroughly investigated, and no credence was found to any of her claims. Deluge. All his life, Sir Deluge had fled from one danger only to find himself facing another. He had escaped the war-torn waters of the Sea Dominion. He had escaped the blood border of the Commonwealth. And now he had escaped the rites. After the rites had ended, many exiles wrapped up in the ancient tests were crestfallen as their last chances to return to their homes vanished, along with the stars above. But Deluge did not mind, for this outcome meant that, at least, there was no burden of the responsibility weighing down on him. While most of his fellow exiles of the Pyre Hearts yet longed for the waters of the Sea Dominion, driven as ever by their impure impulses toward conflict, Deluge settled down. With him remained one of his companions, one Lady Seagrass, who had taken a liking to him for some reason. Reportedly, they disappeared into the waters of Worm Gulf, which may begin to explain the significant increase in worm population observed in the vicinity. Oh, that's nice. So pretty much not letting him free was ideal for him. Cool. And here's Tamitha. Throughout her exile, Tamitha Thayan was motivated by a single goal, to return to the Commonwealth and exact vengeance for her ancient enemies. When she realized the rights had ended and she would never see her mountain home again, she nonetheless remained determined to aid her people however possible. She had gathered certain information pertaining to the intentions of the Nightwings, who had formed a pact to regroup on the other side after the liberation. Other such reports exposed certain weaknesses in the Commonwealth's defenses and revealed to the Highwing remnants the opportunity for a risky but potentially impactful strike. As Tamitha could not participate in the assault, she learned what happened well after the outcome. On that night, known as the Scribe's Return, the Commonwealth had fallen. The Highwing remnants thus prevailed, at last, without even having to fight. Soon after the fall of the Commonwealth, Tamitha learned that her blood sister, Tamitha, was an accessory to the successful outcome. Tamitha was very skeptical of this, but as similar reports kept mounting, she soon accepted the prevailing opinion, however grudgingly. Once a messenger arrived bearing some sort of message, seemingly from Tamitha. However, Tamitha turned it away. She would not give in to any impulse to forgive. Knowing that the conflict on the other side had ended, Tamitha retreated to the crags of the Black Basin and grew ever more distant. Those closest to her surmised that her inability to reconcile with her blood sister was the heart of this. Though, for her part, Tamitha never once admitted to any such weakness. Then this fool.
Spectacular.
When Manly Tinderstall realized the rights had ended and that he no longer could return to the Commonwealth through this ancient means, he was outraged. He cursed the scribes, spewing forth such a slew of blasphemy as to be very unbecoming of one of his high status in Derek. When at last he calmed himself, he focused all his energies on attempting to find another means of homecoming. He maintained regular contact with his wealthy family on the other side via messenger, and used their vast resources to explore other means of escape. He tried using an elaborate pulley system. He attempted to retrofit a flying black wagon with superior propulsion. He tried an improv, a hot air balloon, even prayer. Nothing worked. Cool. There was only one way to escape the downside, and now it was gone. Tinderstall bankrupted his family in these vain attempts. Oh my god. At last, such was his shame that he retreated to the teeming woods of Black Basin to Cinderwood. There he yet wallows, complaining to his comrades of the Chastity, who still put up with him, either about his own misfortune or the latest news from the other side. Wow, so not only did he bankrupted his own family trying to do this, that's sad. Once it became clear to Ignarius that the rites were drawing to a close, he knew that it was time for him and the Templars to call it quits. But first, he and the Templars decided to celebrate. That they did, for many, many nights. The revelry did eventually subside. The exiles parted amicably and went their separate ways. He roamed the downside then, searching for some meaning in his life, something taking odd jobs requiring his brute strength. He never remained alone for very long, and took on many lovers in his time. However, he sometimes thought about the one he had called Curlyhorn and what became of her. Oh, he had a crush on Judario. Though his glory days was as the most powerful conductor of the rites had long since passed, he always enjoyed the fearsome reputation he had cultivated at that time. Then finally Orlek. After the Shimmer Pool closed for what would be the last time, Orlek looked around him in the flickering light of the Nightwing's still burning pyre. He then turned to the fall of Solium and looked up towards the black starless sky. He cursed the 8 scribes, and then, one after another. After that, he strode forward towards the waters coursing from the side of Mount Aliadel, and without hesitating, he cast himself down. Orlek's body was never recovered. The drop from Mount Aliadel does not appear survivable, though Orlok did survive it once. That time, however, he was filled with fury. Such was the betrayal he had suffered when his fellow exile claimed his right for freedom. This time, Orlok was filled with nothingness and chose to leave the downside in the one way he still knew he could. The other Nightwings who were witness to this never forget what they saw. There's one more account which warrants mention. The Nightwings conducted the rites under the guidance of a reader. Little is known of her. However, some accounts of her began to paint a picture. We know she was of common birth, always directionless and prone to misremembering at times. The journey of the downside left her close to death. It was then that the Nightwings found her. They brought her from the brink. She showed them the path. She pressed onward with the others. She made a vow to help her friends be free. Thus did the cycle of the rites commence its final turns. When the final rite arrived, the reader's freedom was at stake. In the end, however, she remained in exile. From that point on, accounts of her diverge. It is said the voice, which troubled her, she never heard again. Some say she opted for a place to settle down in the downside, though whether that is true, only she knows. Someday, perhaps, that reader's own star shall emerge. Then it shall pierce the dark of night in all of its brilliant glory. Until such time, and ever after, all of us give her thanks. All of us give thanks.
Their journey began on a barren waste where the reader arrived, afraid and alone.
Here, this is very low for me too. Oh, that's not what I wanted to lift that up.
When she arrived, the book of rights awakened the Nightwings and ignited the flame.
Oh my god, these are souls of all their friends, isn't it? Oh, it is. That one's Headwind.
Bound together, strands in our brain till the end. We sing of the last of the Nightwings who, having broken the cycle, shall live on in song. Headwind prevailed and strode the path that his heart laid before him. He has found
cute.
his way home.
Yes. Yes. I love it.
Captain Joe Dariel, mother to many a foundling, she has found her way home. Rookie Greentail has proved his worth and returned to his family by the grace of the scribes. They follow the stars, bound together, strands in a braid till the end. The moon-touched girl hears the
Look at them.
scribes
Look at them
in the world
fishing.
all around her. They have guided her home.
Tis all the wise, ever faithful to the cause of the Nightwings. He remained to the end.
Sir Gilman the Bold,
This is interesting. I think this song does actually change depending on who you free.
He has found his way home.
Cool. So if you free them, both people sing. And then if you only free one of, if you don't free them, then only one of them is singing at one time.
She has found her way home. They follow the stars bound together, strands in a braid till the end. Bound together, spirits tether, strands unbroken, spines awoken. Fulfred prevailed as the Nightwings guide, having led them to glory. He has found his way home.
The bog dweller Bertrude kept their foes at bay with her finest enchantments. She remained till the end. The reader at last made the Nightwings whole, having bound them together. She remained till the end. They follow the stars bound together, strands in a braid till the end. They follow the stars bound together, strands in a braid till the end. Now at the end, as we bid farewell and return to the stars, we shall find our way home. We shall find our way home. We shall find our way
What's this? What's this? What's this? What's this? What's this? Where is this? Well, this is probably in the Commonwealth. Considering the amount of books, it's probably in the Commonwealth. Oh wait, now that I think about it, did this game start off with a person opening a book? I feel like that's how this game started. Hold on, I think. Yeah, it's been a hot minute since we've seen the beginning of the game, but I'm pretty sure there was. Yeah, I'm pretty sure when we started the game, it started like this. Hold on, was this the game that I'm thinking of, or oh, it might be a different game than I'm thinking of. Never mind. Okay, now and that just unlocks. Hold on. Oh, I can start off from here. Yeah, but now I can start off with a new difficulty. Hold on, I kind of want to do this. Base difficulty same as heightened. All Titan stars unlocked and some must be used. Cool. Enlightenment required rank up is rescaled. Cannot load checkpoints or restart. Oh wow! Cannot restart your sprites. Cool. Book of Rights and White loot fully unlocked. Okay. Slugmar inventory fully unlocked. Feet of Glory introduced much sooner. Interesting. Well, anyways. Yeah, there's also a lot of replay value Because, like, it's interesting how it's just like, there's some people who, like, I miss this person. So I'm seeing, there must be a lot of text in this game. For, like, what would happen if some people went, who got home and stuff like that. So it's like, ooh, this is interesting. Yeah, I'm probably not going to play this game anymore. I will play more of it on my own time, but not on stream. Yeah. Like, I'm curious to see, like, if I set free both sisters, would they reconcile? Or would they reconcile if I didn't set either of them free at all? Would there be a chance of them reconciling? I don't know. And then, like, what would happen to what's his face if we set him free at the final thing? It's interesting. But, like, that requires multiple playthroughs. Especially because, like, yeah. I mean, if anything, I could maybe see what happens to him if I just replay the final one. Since it looks like I can reload from that point. But, like, that's probably the most I can see. And then there's also freeing yourself, too. It's just like, there's a lot of options and a lot of different things you can see. Oh boy. Yeah, I'll probably play more of this on my own. Alright, so I don't know what I'm going to do on Saturday. I'll think about it. But for now, good night. It's way past when I usually stream. Well, not way past, but past when I usually stream. So, new game time? Maybe. I need to look into see if some games got updated too, so we'll get to that when we get to that. Alright. Good night, good night, good night, good night, good night.